So welcome to Itom-Sdp integration webinar. And good morning, Philippines. Good morning, everyone. So first, I would like to give you a quick introduction about the ITOM solutions that we have, ITOM offerings. So we have several products under IT operations category. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction about that. And then we are going to talk about the heart of the today's presentation session is talking about the OpManager and Service Desk Plus integration and what are the benefits out of it. And then we talk about what is new in ITOM. And I'm not going to talk about in general, but I'm going to focus on what we are coming up with. What are the enhancements that we have in focus to Service Desk Plus and OpManager integration? What are newly enhanced and what are the upcoming features in Service Desk Plus and OpManager integration? So what are our plans for the next 1 year? So I'm going to talk about that. And with that, we'll have a quick Q&A session. So whatever the questions that you have, you can still post it even during the course of the session, or even after the presentation, you can write whatever the questions that you have and we can address that. All right, so with that, I'd like to start off with ManageEngine ITOM solutions introduction. So I would like to start off from the top, the network performance. So all the outer layer that you see here, the network performance or bandwidth and traffic analysis or the configuration management, firewall management and log analysis, storage monitoring, IP address, switch port monitoring, and application monitoring. So all these are individual products available as a standalone one. And also we have one integrated pack called OpManager Plus that has everything as a module inside OpManager. So with that, I'd like to start off with from the top, network performance monitoring. So this product is called OpManager that can help you monitor your servers, routers, switches, and printers, network cameras. So basically any IP that is available on the network and SNMP enabled can be monitored by OpManager. And if any fault is detected, it can tell you that. And also with the help of the IT workflow automation, you can fix the problem automatically. So for the repetitive task, you can create workflows that can see whenever a problem is identified, it is going to automatically execute that workflow and fix the problem for you. And we support monitoring the virtual environment like VMware, Hyper-V, Zen Server, and so on. And coming back to this, the second module, the bandwidth and traffic analysis. So it's called NetFlow Analyzer. So it's a flow-based bandwidth and traffic analysis software. So with the help of these flow-based analysis, we will be able to identify any bottleneck in your network and how to address that, how to troubleshoot and fix that problem before it affects the end user, is what NetFlow Analyzer product is all about. And you can get the in-depth details of the traffic to understand where the traffic is coming from, where it's going to, with details such as source IP address, destination IP address, and so on. And with configuration management, it helps you. The product name is Network Configuration and Compliance Management Software. So this product is going to help you manage all the startup and running configurations of your devices like routers, switches, and firewalls. And it can also look for the firmware upgrades. And if any of your devices are under the lower version, it can help you with the configlets. You can push configurations to bulk as a bulk to say you have the changes to be made in 50 or 100 devices. You can push the configlet to all the devices in a single click. And you can also make sure that the changes that you make on these devices are compliant to your internal and external policies or not. And so that can help you identify who did what change, and if any unauthorized is being made on this on the devices, it can help you identify that and let you know. And this firewall analyzer is a log analytics tool that can help you identify any security threats in your network by analyzing the syslogs. And also it can help you identify the bandwidth issues. It can help you analyze the number of used rules, unused rules in firewalls. So you can keep a track of unused rules and remove if it is not necessary, so that you can improve the performance of your firewall device. And we support storage monitoring and the IP address and switch port monitoring. It helps you scan uh, your subnets like the IP v4, IPv6, and for availability in space. So you get to know how many IP addresses are available in a specific subnet, and it can also help you identify the availability of the switch ports. It can help you detect the rogue devices in your network. If any unauthorized device is being connected to your network, you can identify that. You can also disable the switch port that the unauthorized device is connected to. And with applications performance monitoring, you can identify, you can manage the performance of the applications. So you get to know the code level visibility of the application, and you can monitor every component of your infrastructure. And you can also monitor the cloud infrastructure using applications manager. And not only that, so when something goes wrong, when the application is slow, you get to know what is the exact reason why the application is slow, and whether the application is slow because of a transaction failure, or whether the application is slow because of a database query that is taking too long to execute, or the web page is slowing down because of a media file being used on the web page. So you can get to know all the information about this applications using applications performance monitoring module. So as I said before, I quickly summarize. So all these are available as a standalone product, and as well as one integrated solution called OpManager Plus. So with that, we'll get into our topic for today. Take Service Desk Plus beyond boundaries and be the first to know the IT performance mishaps. So, with that, I would like to start off with the Service Desk Plus on-premises integration with OpManager. So, what happens with OpManager is OpManager is a product that can help you identify a fault in the network devices, or like servers, routers, and switches. So, when something goes wrong, it can identify what is the fault. And as I said before, you can use workflows to automatically fix these problems. But what happens when a problem is identified? So technically speaking, it gets assigned to a technician who is going to address this problem, right? And if you have if you have a help desk product in place, and where you're going to talk about, I mean, where it is going to help you manage the tickets that comes from the employees, and it's going to be basically a conversation between the administrator and the employees of the organization, right? And there's also this category where you also need to take care of the problems that's being identified in your knock. So what happens to the server, what happens to the switch when something goes wrong, what is the problem, what is the procedure to fix the problem. So all these are taken care by technicians available in the knock. So you can also add these technicians in Service Desk Plus, and you can make sure that when a problem is identified in the network, it is created as a ticket for tracking in Service Desk Plus. And not only that, you can automatically assign these requests to the technician directly for faster resolution. So there might be tickets, there might be problems identified in various categories. Like you have problems in service. So when certain services are not are down, and what is the relationship? Who are affected? What are the employees who are impacted because of this service failure? And what is the exact problem with the server? Whether maybe you have a planned maintenance and the server is taken down for certain reasons. So how many hours is the downtime? When you bring back the service to normal? So when you make it up for the use of the users. And you can track all these things. And so there, as I said, there are various groups, various categories. So a technician who takes care of only the problems identified in servers, a technician who takes care of problems identified in the network. So there are change requests. So you can categorize that in Service Desk Plus accordingly, and ensure that you know which technician will take care of this problem. And so from OpManager itself, you have an option to automatically assign a particular problem to a specific engineer. so that it doesn't go to the unassigned pool. So generally what happens in the ticket management, when a problem is raised, it goes to the common unassigned pool, and there is an help desk engineer who will look at that problem, what is the nature of the problem, who is the technician available, and then he's going to assign that to specific technician. And from that time, the technician is going to have an SLA to fix that problem. So all this can be avoided when you have a system to automatically assign tickets in your service desk plus. And the third and final benefit that you're going to see in service desk plus and OpManager integration is the asset sync. So in an environment where you're monitoring all the servers, network devices of your organization, and service desk plus not only deals with the ticket management, it also deals with the assets. So we already take care of monitoring the hardwares, but service desk plus can also identify the number of softwares installed, and it can also understand the license. So from when this software was purchased and how long the contract is available, when it is going to expire, it is going to track all the information, the contract information, software information. It's going to track all the IT and non-IT assets in service desk plus as well. So when you have all your network devices added in op manager, and when you also wanted to keep track of all these information, not only that, you have a CMDB relationship as well. So when a device is added to service desk plus, what is the relationship? So you can create a relationship. Who is the parent device, and which is the department being impacted when you take out the service? So you can create a relationship like this. So you can identify when something goes wrong, who are the impacted employees, and so on. So these are the top three benefits, I would say, by integrating OpManager with Service Desk Plus. And with that, we'll move on to the next stage to see how to integrate your Service Desk Plus with OpManager. So I'll quickly jump into the product to show you how this is done. So this is the OpManager UI. So when you go to settings page, so okay, I'm actually now in the inventory page. I'm going to settings page, and here under the general settings, you have third-party integrations, and you can see the various third-party integrations that we have. We have integration with Service Desk Plus, Service Desk Plus Cloud version, and also with third-party softwares like ServiceNow, Slack, and Jira Service Desk Plus as well. So now we are going to see how to integrate OpManager with Service Desk Plus. So all you have to do is just you need to select the protocol, whether it is HTTP or HTTPS, and then provide the server name or the IP address and the web server port number. And once this is done, you need to get the technician key. And where you can get this technician key is you can get it from the Service Desk Plus. When you go to Service Desk Plus, so this is the Service Desk Plus UI, and when you hit on the user icon, here you will be able to get the technician key. You can generate the API key and ensure that it is on the never expired, and just click on regenerate. That is going to help you get the technician key. And once you have done that, you can copy and paste it in the technician key column, and that is it. So once you have done that, and there are other settings like ticket settings, asset settings. So based on your need, you can just go ahead and do that. So I'll quickly tell you what the ticket settings is all about. So if an alert reoccurs, and whether you want, so there is a problem that's been identified in Op Manager, and it is already created as a ticket in Service Desk Plus. And maybe the problem is solved and the ticket is closed, but the same problem occurs again. So what is your organization policy, whether you want to create that as a new ticket, or it is okay to create to open the same ticket? So this, according to your organization policy, you can define the ticket settings here. And the next is the asset settings to sync the assets from op manager to Service Desk. So, and then there is a sync now option to sync all the devices that you have currently with Service Desk Plus. And once you save it, the configuration is done. It is that simple to integrate OpManager with Service Desk Plus. So it is a matter of 2 minutes time to do this configuration. So once this is done, so you will be able to, I mean, the handshake is done. So the communication between Service Desk Plus and OpManager is successful. So how do you ensure that the problem identified in OpManager is created as a ticket in Service Desk Plus? For that, you need to create a notification profile in uh, OpManager. I'll show you that. And before, once when you create a notification profile for a log a ticket, there is also something that we discussed about the benefits in the couple of slides before. We talked about automating the field settings. So whatever the fields that so when a problem, according to the nature of the problem, so when a problem is identified in the network category, so can that be automatically assigned to the network engineer? Yes. So this is what you have to do when you create a notification profile. So in the very first page, you will be having options to define the category, subcategory, item, and priority, and choose technician. And these category, these fields can be automatically filled in when a ticket for a particular problem is created in Service Desk Plus. When a particular problem is identified, it is going to automatically fill these fields that you have created in this notification profile. And when a ticket is logged in Service Desk Plus, these fields will be pre-filled, and it will be easy for the network engineer to see this problem, and it is going to automatically assign to the technician as and when the problem is identified. So you can expect a faster resolution for this problem. So even for this, I would like to go to the product. So again, on the settings page, whatever the configurations that you need to do, you need to go to the settings page and click on notification profile. If you click on add notification profile, you see various options. So with related to email, SMS, chat, and so on. So we wanted to create a notification profile for log a ticket. So for Service Desk Plus, so as I said, it lists all the categories that you've already created in Service Desk Plus. If you do not see any category that you have lately created, I would recommend you to hit on this refresh and look for the categories that you wanted to see. So say I wanted to set, I'm creating a notification profile for all the network related problems identified in OpManager. So I have the category as network. And for even if you wanted to set the subcategory, you can define that. Let me choose LAN, and you wanted to define item, you can do that. And what is the priority of the problem? So any problems that's been identified in the LAN, I would like to mark it as high priority, so that that problem will be as addressed and closed within an hour or within 30 minutes of time. And whether I want to put it in the group or whether I want to assign this to the direct technician available in the network category. So I can, so again, it is according to your organization policy. If you prefer to put it on the group, so whoever the technician who is available during that time is going to pick the ticket and answer that or fix that problem accordingly. Otherwise, you can also assign it to the specialist. So if this particular problem is being dealt by Jennifer, so you can directly assign this problem to Jennifer. So all these fields will be pre-filled and will be automatically logged as a ticket. And here's what something interesting that you're going to see. So you can define what the information that the technician has to see on the title of the ticket. So whether it is the severity or whether it is the display name of the device or whatever the information that you wanted to put in, you can just add these variables so that the technician will be able to see that in the title of the ticket. And similarly, what the information that you wanted to provide to the technician, that he can see that on the description page. So as default, you can see the message, the display name of the device, the category of the device, what is the error condition, and the severity, what is the generated time, and so on. So likewise, you have various options available. So you can go ahead and add the relevant variables that you wanted to do and go ahead and do it, so that it helps the technician to understand the problem with more details. And here is what you're going to choose, what for what kind of problem you wanted to create a ticket and service test plus. Say I want any device that is down, I wanted to create a notification, I wanted to create a ticket and service desk plus. Whether it is based on severity, I can choose I can choose to have a ticket created only for critical problem or a trouble problem, and that's depending on your organizational needs. And so you can do that, and then I recommend you to select this notify when an alarm is cleared, because when a problem is identified and it logs the ticket and service desk list, and when a problem is cleared, it has to close the ticket and service desk list, for which you need to configure this. So in the ticket settings, we saw that whether the problem should be created, I mean the ticket should open a new ticket for the problem, or it should reopen the old ticket. So similarly, you can also close the ticket when the problem is cleared in OpManager. So maybe you have a CPU hike, and maybe that is because of an antivirus scan that's happening that Friday evening. But it is just a spike, and then from the next poll, the server goes to the normal condition. So it clears the alarm automatically. So in that case, it need not to be assigned to a technician to look at, because the server is already turned to a normal condition. So in that case, this is going to help you when a problem is already cleared in OpManager. And so this is what, based on your need, whatever, so you wanted to create a ticket for service down, you can do that. And in the next section is where you wanted to define to which group of devices you want these profile to be associated. So you can filter this out based on the infrastructure views. So let me select the server category, and I can choose from the available devices and move that to the selected devices column. And this is what I need to do in the choosing devices field. And then I can define the time window, whether I want to apply this to all 24 hours, or I wanted to apply this in a specific time window. And I can set the delay triggers, all that. And when I click next, this is the last page of this logger ticket profile configuration to provide a suitable name and save it. So once this configuration is done, we have configured a network problem saying that any device that has a critical condition for device down to be logged as a ticket in service testers. So this has already been set to OpManager. The configuration is done. So next time when a problem is identified and when a critical severity of a device down alarm is triggered in OpManager, so all the alarms that you will see under this alarms page in OpManager, when the problem is identified here, it will automatically create a ticket in service test plus. That is what you're going to see in the request column when a new ticket is created, and it is going to be available in this request pool. And as I said, it will be in the unassigned if you left the group or the technician field unselected in the logger ticket profile that you created in service desk plus. Otherwise, it will be directly assigned to a group, or it will be directly assigned to the technician. And so, as I said, all the fields that you have selected in OpManager will be automatically filled, and you have a resolution that for this problem you can just mark it and save it. And if you have any task that need to be fixed by other technicians, you can add a task and assign it to that technician. And so the work log items can be carried out, and the time analysis, you have the history to understand when the ticket was created, which technician looked after this problem, and what was the resolution offered. So how long it took to close this ticket, and so on. So with that, we'll move on to the next uh, topic to talk about the asset synchronization. So this is also one of the important in Service Desk Plus and OpManager integration. So we talked about how to integrate, how to log a ticket in Service Desk Plus automatically, and how to automatically predefine the fields while a ticket is generated in Service Desk Plus. And now we are going to talk about how to sync the assets in Service Desk Plus. The sync meaning the assets or the devices that are scanned already in OpManager, how you're going to sync that in Service Desk Plus automatically. So again, under the third-party integrations, when you do the configuration, as I said, in the asset section, you will be able to define what type of synchronization that you need. So sync devices to Service Desk Plus. If this option is left unselected, then the asset sync will not happen. So you have to make sure that if you wanted to sync the assets in from OpManager in Service Desk Plus, you have to do this. And this is something interesting. Sync newly discovered devices for future. Say, for example, now you might be having 300 devices in OpManager, and you defined the configuration in OpManager, and all the assets are synced in Service Desk Plus. Maybe in future, based on the request from several departments, you might be adding uh, many servers, you might be adding application to servers, or you might be adding more devices to your network. When your company grows, it is a normal thing in every enterprises, right? So you keep on adding more and more servers depending upon the request. And so is there a need for you to do this every time when you add devices? So that's why this sync newly discovered devices option is available. So sync devices for future, you enable this. So anytime after this integration is successfully done, anytime when a new device is added in OpManager, will be automatically synced in Service Desk Plus. And the third option is also an interesting one. So when you wanted to delete the device in Service Desk Plus when it is deleted in OpManager, you can also do that, because sometimes there are devices that you will take down, or you will, maybe it is too old that you wanted to scrap it and bring new devices. So in that time, you wanted to also make sure that the same device is deleted in Service Desk Plus. So it is not so unnecessary devices that you do not store in both OpManager or Service Desk Plus. But when you have it in OpManager, it is going to cost you a license, and when you have it in Service Desk Plus, it is an unnecessary load. So you can ensure that these unnecessary devices are not there in both of your products by ensuring that this option is selected. When anytime a device is deleted in OpManager, it is also be going to be deleted in Service Desk Plus. So with that, I'd like to show you the asset synchronization. Once you sync your assets in Service Desk Plus, this is how you will see it in the um, Service Desk Plus page. So you can just drill down to see the desktops, or you can drill down to see the servers. And as I told you in the beginning, when I talked about the benefits, say I wanted to pick this device. So this is synced from OpManager to Service Desk Plus, and you see all the asset details with IP address and the type of the product, and whether what is the asset state, whether it is in store, and the DNS name, and the hardware information that you already see in server in OpManager. But what is the benefit that you're going to see by syncing the assets in Service Desk Plus is the software. So what are all the softwares being installed in this particular server, and what is the contract? So whether it is a licensed software or whether it is an unlicensed software, you can get that. And you can also understand the relationship. So who is the parent device? What is the organization rely? I mean, what is the departments who is relying on these applications installed in this server? So what are the applications running in this in this server, what are the services that you're offering using this server, and who is the department. So you can create a relationship like this, so that you can easily understand when something goes wrong, who are the impacted employees, impacted group, and which services are impacted, and so on. And you can get the contract details of the vendor, and when the contract started, when it is going to expire, and so on. With that, we'll move on to the next uh, integration part. So we talked about OpManager SDP integration. Similarly, you can also integrate if any of the audience that use Service Desk plus MSP. Yes, we do provide options to integrate your Service Desk plus MSP with OpManager. And so this for MSP customers, it's a bit of you deal with accounts and you deal with sites. And similarly, with OpManager MSP, we have customers. So you call it as accounts, and we call it as customers. You call it as sites, we call it as probes. So this integration is also possible. I'll show you. So the same way where you go to settings and third-party integrations to do configurations for Service Desk Plus, you have Service Desk Plus MSP. And similarly, what you did for Service Desk Plus, you provide all the server information, the web server port, and the technician key can be identified from the user profile in Service Desk Plus, similarly to Service Desk Plus. And then you just map the account's name, map the customer name that, so the customer name that is created in OpManager MSP should map with the same name and the Service Desk Plus MSP. So once you have that, you just put in the name and put in the site, put in the location of the particular site information. So once you do this, so when a ticket is created, you get to know which customer has raised the ticket and from which location the ticket has been created. So which location has. So similarly, you can do this. So you get to know from which location you get more requests and so on. And next, we also support the Service Desk Plus Cloud integration with OpManager. And again, and under the third-party integration page, you have a separate option this time to integrate Service Desk Plus Cloud. So all you need to do is just to update the token key from the Service Desk Plus Cloud to make it integrated. So when you click on this icon, it will help you to get the token from the Service Desk Plus for the Service Desk Plus Cloud option. And once you paste this and validate, you will be able to integrate your Service Desk Plus Cloud with OpManager. So you can, if any of these Service Desk Plus Cloud customers here, so you can give it a try and let us know if you have any trouble. And with that, we talked about the integration and the benefits of Service Desk Plus and OpManager. And I'd like to talk about the new feature that's been released in OpManager. So this is something to deal with adaptive thresholds. So we talked about logging a ticket for a problem identified in OpManager. This is some improvisation in OpManager perspective. So generally, what happens is for the devices down, for service down, so anything that goes down will be automatically identified as a problem and logged as and it creates an alarm in OpManager. And we are going to create a logger ticket profile to log that as a ticket in Service Desk Plus. But this is something specific to the performance, monitoring the performance of the server, like the performance metrics like CPU, memory, and disk utilization. So when something goes wrong, and say how this work in general is you define threshold value for a specific CPU or memory metric of a particular server. You know that what is the average value of this CPU on this server, so you define that threshold. This is the manual configuration. But what happens is when something you have a daily activities like an antivirus scan or a backup job to be done on the group of servers. So during that time, the CPU will spike. During that time, the CPU will spike when the antivirus scan happens, and then once the scan completes, it goes back to the normal condition. So during such time, the administrators have have a headache where they need to manually adjust the thresholds during this events. So during these kind of activities, they need to manually fine tune the thresholds. So this is a serious pain for the administrators, and this is something an interesting feature that we came up with the adaptive thresholds. It's an ML and AI based adaptive thresholds. So what it does is once you enable this in OpManager, it is going to automatically analyze the pattern of or the behavior of the servers for a couple of days, and then it will understand that this server has an activity going on between 5 and 6 on every Friday evening, and during that time the CPU is going to have a high load, and that is a normal behavior of the server. And or maybe during Saturday there is a backup, maintain. I mean, a regular maintenance of backup going on, and so on a periodic every Saturday of the week there is a backup job going on for a group of devices, and the CPU again is going to have a high load on these servers when the backup job is executed, and that is absolutely normal behavior of the server on a Saturday evening. So it understands this pattern, it understands the behavior of the server, and only then it logs a ticket in Service Desk Plus. And only then it creates an alarm in OpManager. And if you have created a log a ticket profile for this problems like threshold violation for CPU, memory, and disk. So it can also be identified and creates a ticket in Service Desk Plus only for the problem. So what the point here is, before it was a manual configuration, now it is going to read the pattern, it is going to read the behavior of the server and define the threshold. So it is an adaptive threshold, it is not a standard one. It is going to configure that, and you also have a deviation percentage that you can configure for 10 or 15 percentage. So only when it crosses the deviation percentage, it is going to create a alarm in OpManager and then log a ticket in Service Desk Plus. And what are our plans for the future in terms of Service Desk Plus integration? So first, I'd like to talk about the layer 2 map. So we have a feature called layer 2 map, layer 2 discovery in OpManager that automatically identifies the relationship of the device. Let me show you. So this is an online demo. If you're interested to see, you can go to demo.opmanagerplus.com, and I think it's a bit slow from my end. Let me try this from a different browser. I think it's not working. Maybe I can share that information with you later. I'm not able to showcase that in the demo. So what it does is it identifies, it completely scans your network and identifies all the devices available in the network. And also it lets you know who is the parent device of this particular server, who is the parent device of this particular switch. So you have the relationship already built in OpManager, and we can use that intelligence to be logged in Service Desk Plus when you sync the asset from OpManager to Service Desk Plus. So it is not that you manually create a relationship. We already have that information. So this is our future plan. It is not available right now. So we're going to use this intelligence in Service Desk Plus. So we already have know who is the parent device, and we are going to map that in Service Desk Plus when you do the asset sync from OpManager to Service Desk Plus. So that is one thing with the layer to map discovery. And with OpManager discovery, we are also going to identify the hierarchy of the devices. So we know that, say you have a virtual environment, and we do support monitoring the VMware Hyper-V Zen server. Say, for example, when you take it, the VMware, you have vCenter, you have ESX host, you have VMs. So you have these several hierarchies and various virtual environments, right? So You can also map this in Service Desk Plus when the asset sync is done. So we with this OPM discovery, we already have the information of the hierarchies. So we thought, why not we add that in the relationship in CMDB in Service Desk Plus. So this is also one of the upcoming feature in terms of discovery. In addition to the layer 2 discovery that identifies the parent device, so we also map the relationship with respect to hierarchies. And so we map the hierarchy, we map the parent devices, and why not applications installed in these servers. So with applications manager module, we know that what are the applications running on each of the servers, and we can also get to add that as a relationship, so that all this, when all this comes together and you see this in a relationship, so you get to know that easily the dependent services, dependent employees, dependent department. So you get to know all this information. So when something goes wrong, or when you plan for any regular maintenance on a monthly maintenance, you get to know that, okay, who are the affected employees, or who are which are the services going to be impacted when I take the server down or service down, and so on. And then the next is we are working on the actions. So logging into the network device console using net NCM credentials. Say you already did the asset sync in from Service Desk Plus, from OpManager to Service Desk Plus, and in OpManager Network Configuration Manager module, there are features that are available that can help you take regular backups of any configuration changes that's going to in your router or switches. And when something goes wrong, and when you have a planned maintenance, you can create a downtime scheduler in Op Manager for the downtime. So any planned maintenance or any active maintenance that you take at the moment, so you can create downtime schedulers. So why not bring this intelligence in the asset sync and Service Desk Plus when something goes wrong, or how to sync the NCM's change management with Service Desk Plus change management. So when you collect a group of incidents and you create, you move that for a change, and then you go through several analysis and execute that change, right? So with NCM integration in Op Manager, you already have the credentials, you already have the telnet and SSH information, you already have the configured to execute the change, and that can be synced well in Service Desk Plus App Manager integration with the asset synchronization. So these are all some of the future developments that we are right now working on. And when there are developments, we'll also be posting that on our websites. And when any of you are interested in getting the early access, please write an email to us, or you can mention that in the chat. And also, in case if you have any specific requirement with Service Desk Plus that is not covered in our future plans right now, so you can write to us. We can also, because since it is in the development stage, we can easily accommodate whatever the changes that you suggest, whatever the requirements that you have in respect to Op Manager and STP integration. You please write to us, and we can definitely bring that in the product in a couple of months time. All right, so with that, we'll move on. So we are coming to the end of the presentation. So this solution is trusted by 42,000 customers and 1 million IT admins around the world. And so some awards and recognition, we have won the Gartner Magic Quadrant, and we are into Gartner Peer Insights Customer's Choice of 2019. We won the Network Award, Network World Award in 2021, and these are some of our customers around the globe. So Minneapolis, NASA, IBM. All right. So thank you very much for your time once again. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank our partner team, IT Group, who helped uh, to make this happen. We have a wonderful audience. We have around 100 people attending today's session, and that's an awesome crowd. And yeah, love you all from Philippines, and thanks a lot. So once again, we'll meet in the next opportunity or in the next event. Thanks a lot for your time, and you have a wonderful day. Thanks a lot, IT Group team.